Just moments ago, a sudden shift inside Buckingham Palace led to an emotional announcement that has left royal watchers stunned. Standing side by side, Prince William and Camilla officially confirmed a massive change regarding King Charles's ongoing health battle. Make sure to stick around until the very end of this video, because the secret detail uncovered inside Clarence House changes everything we thought we knew about Prince William's new role. If you want to stay updated on the latest royal family news, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the notification bell. It really helps the channel, and I'm so glad to have you here. Reports suggest that an unscripted moment inside Buckingham Palace just triggered an immediate shift across the entire monarchy. Prince William and Camilla stood side by side after a series of sudden schedule clearings to confirm that King Charles's ongoing cancer battle has reached a far more serious stage. Standing directly before reporters, William held the prepared official document, but observers couldn't help but notice the paper visibly trembling between his fingers. Beside him, Camilla kept her eyes locked onto the final lines, knowing that a single lapse in control could shatter her composure. Insiders say the royal family attempted to delay this confession for weeks, but the reality could no longer be contained. King Charles had ultimately made the call himself, demanding complete honesty rather than letting public speculation spiral out of control. Rumors indicate that a taped conversation recorded just moments before the broadcast captured the king giving a direct command to speak plainly, even if the truth unsettled the public. Prince William then confirmed he would immediately take over an expanded schedule of state duties and official events to support his father. His voice faltered briefly on the sentence announcing the king's step back from public life before he forced it steady. But here is what really sent shockwaves through the palace. Just minutes before stepping up to the microphones, a confidential medical update was placed directly into Prince William's hands. One key line had been completely removed from the public statement. The king's medical team quietly admitted that his treatment schedule was no longer following the expected timeline. The moment the broadcast cut, Camilla quietly turned to Prince William and asked if they should have revealed the entire truth right then and there. William set the papers down and gave a direct warning. The next 48 hours would expose everything the palace was desperately trying to keep hidden. A vehicle was already waiting outside. Prince William immediately left for Clarence House, where King Charles was demanding answers about a decision neither father nor son could delay any longer. And what William saw the second he walked through those doors changed everything. The moment Prince William walked into Clarence House, he saw a single detail that made his stomach drop. King Charles sat silently beside an unopened red dispatch box, the official case used to deliver urgent government papers. His reading glasses rested on top, untouched. For Prince William, that tiny detail said more than any medical update ever could. The king was no longer opening his official mail. Camilla watched as William took in the scene. Insiders say she had seen King Charles return from treatment and completely drained, waking up throughout the night, yet still insisting on working before breakfast. Reports suggest the king gets visibly upset whenever anyone mentions resting, because to him, rest feels like giving up. But Prince William knew the situation had changed. He looked directly at Camilla and said protecting the king might now require refusing his demands. That single statement created an uneasy pact between two people who haven't always seen eye to eye. King Charles raised his eyes and admitted the shift in power had already started. It is claimed that an approved document signed before the announcement showed several major state duties had already been reassigned directly to Prince William without waiting for another medical review. The future king was now taking on massive national responsibilities, all while trying to stay grounded for Catherine, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Then Camilla shared something that deeply unsettled William. According to reports, just 2 nights earlier, King Charles had tried to practice an upcoming speech in private. Halfway through, he lost his place, lowered the pages, and asked everyone to leave the room. He sat there staring at the unfinished speech, furious with himself. That was when Prince William realized the full scope of the situation. This crisis didn't just start that morning, and it hadn't been hidden by accident. Someone inside the royal family's team had seen the warning signs, kept the schedule going, and stayed silent until one specific private ceremony made concealment completely impossible. And Prince William was about to find out who had made that dangerous call. The crisis exploding inside the palace didn't happen overnight. It had been quietly building for weeks. King Charles kept reading state papers, meeting officials, and refusing to cancel a single event. But then came a sudden moment at Windsor Castle that changed everything. During a private practice session for an upcoming ceremony, the king took a few steps across the room, suddenly stopped, and reached out to grab the back of a chair. He turned to Prince William and whispered that he couldn't feel steady on his feet. To the public, the king's schedule looked completely controlled. But behind the scenes, palace planners were constantly shuffling events around his medical treatments and creating private rest periods. Camilla defended this intense schedule because she believed keeping busy gave King Charles purpose. She watched him push through recovery days, gather his energy, and insist that staying active was keeping his spirits up. Prince William saw things very differently. He worried that every rearranged event was just another way for the royal family to avoid facing reality. And 4 days before the public announcement, everything came to a head. King Charles entered the Windsor practice room determined to finish. He walked toward his position, then abruptly froze. His hand clamped tightly onto a carved chair as Prince William rushed toward him. The king refused any help and ordered the staff to clear the room immediately. Once they were alone, King Charles finally admitted the truth. He had been feeling unsteady since that morning, but pushed through because he couldn't stand seeing another event cancelled in his name. Prince William stood there, caught between deep fear and rising anger, and immediately called for the royal doctor despite his father's protests. The doctor arrived through a private side entrance and performed an immediate checkup. Reports suggest the medical assessment came back with a stark warning. King Charles had to pause his public duties and start a more intensive treatment plan right away. Camilla then confronted a senior palace staff member who had noticed the king's physical weakness earlier that week. Insiders say the official admitted that King Charles had strictly forbidden anyone from warning Prince William. The king was terrified his son would step in and cancel the event. That was when Camilla realized the silence hadn't protected her husband. It had put him in direct danger. Prince William's heartbreak quickly turned to fury, and he demanded an immediate private confrontation with King Charles. When Prince William finally faced King Charles in private, there were no staff, no secretaries, and no medical advisors in the room. Just a heavy silence, an unopened red box, and years of raw emotion that both men had buried for far too long. Prince William didn't accuse his father of being weak. He accused him of shutting out his own family. And when King Charles tried to argue that keeping quiet was his duty to the country, Prince William fired back with 7 words that changed everything. Duty does not mean disappearing all on your own. Prince William wanted real answers, not polished statements prepared by palace staff. King Charles remained deeply defensive at first. He argued that cancelling events left and right would panic the public, worry international allies, and dump way too much pressure onto Prince William's shoulders while Catherine was already dealing with so much at home. That was when Prince William dropped the confidential medical update onto the table. He looked his father in the eye and asked why the doctors had to give him the full, terrifying truth before his own father did. Prince William kept his voice steady, but every single word echoed with disbelief and heartbreak. King Charles looked down at the untouched box on the table and said nothing. The silence went on so long it felt like an admission of guilt. Finally, King Charles broke. Insiders say he admitted the painful truth. Speaking out loud about his health decline made it feel permanent. He believed staying silent would protect everyone until things got better. But Prince William told him that secrecy hadn't protected a single person. It had forced Camilla, Catherine, and the kids to carry constant fear without knowing what was actually happening. Then, King Charles reached into a drawer and pulled out a handwritten document. It contained private instructions detailing exactly how Prince William should handle state affairs during an extended absence, but it held far more than official procedures. King Charles had written personal notes asking his son to keep the family united and avoid the painful emotional distance that royal life had forced on past generations. Suddenly, a chair scraped back as Prince William stood up. Hearing the sound, Camilla stepped into the room, terrified the argument had pushed them apart. But King Charles motioned for her to stay. He then made a massive declaration. Prince William now had the full authority to overrule any event if medical advice was being ignored. Prince William understood the weight of that moment instantly. But as he looked past the doorway, palace officials were already meeting, debating whether Prince William's new authority would remain just a temporary shield or become absolute power over the entire monarchy. Power inside the palace shifted without a single fanfare or public announcement. While the world was absorbing the news about King Charles, Prince William walked into a private meeting where the harsh reality hit him all at once. Officially, King Charles was still on the throne. But emotionally and practically, the true weight of the monarchy was being handed straight to his eldest son. Prince William stood at the top of the conference table and refused to sit in the main chair reserved for the king. Palace advisors laid out official folders showing the new setup. King Charles would handle light work whenever he felt up to it. But Prince William was now taking charge of major state ceremonies, official meetings, and international events. It was supposed to be a temporary fix on paper, but everyone in that room knew it felt like the beginning of something permanent. To keep the palace running smoothly without causing public alarm, backup plans were quickly put into place. Princess Anne stepped up to take over several public ceremonies, making sure there were no sudden gaps in the schedule. Any sudden delay could spark widespread panic or make King Charles's condition look far worse than the palace was letting on. Later that afternoon, Princess Anne found Prince William sitting alone, staring down at his massive new schedule. She gently asked him what was troubling him most. Prince William looked up and admitted that taking on all these new duties felt terrifyingly close to preparing for a world without his father. Princess Anne quietly reminded him that carrying the workload for King Charles wasn't taking power away from him. It was protecting him. But then came an unexpected reveal hidden in the official paperwork. Reports suggest King Charles had personally crossed out the end date on Prince William's new authority. Instead of ending after a few weeks, this arrangement was set to remain active until doctors officially cleared the king to return. This decision hit Camilla harder than almost anyone else. While she still looked after King Charles at home, she no longer controlled his official calendar. Prince William and the medical team would now make the final call on every single event. Stripping away that control left Camilla feeling pushed aside from the work that had kept her close to her husband for years. But as Prince William took on these massive responsibilities, the real heartbreak was about to show up in the king's personal daily planner. Decades of royal service suddenly vanished into blank white space in a matter of minutes. Camilla walked into King Charles's private study and found 2 palace aides quietly removing engagement cards straight off his calendar. One ceremony, one reception, one public appearance at a time. By the time they finished, weeks of planned events had been completely erased, leaving the king's schedule totally empty. Camilla waited until the aides left, walked over to the desk and touched the blank pages. The sudden silence made the harsh reality hit her all at once. For King Charles, work wasn't just a job, it was the very thing that kept him feeling useful, focused and in control. Prince William took over key appearances, and Princess Anne stepped in to handle extra ceremonies to keep things stable. But beneath that smooth public image lay a painful contrast. The royal family looked steady only because King Charles was being removed from the life he loved. Strict new medical rules were immediately put in place. Official papers were cut back, visitors were limited, and no event could be added back without express permission from doctors and Prince William. Camilla understood why it had to be done, but being sidelined from her husband's daily decisions cut deep. When an aide reached for a card marking an anniversary event King Charles was desperate to attend, Camilla stopped him and asked to leave it on the desk. She knew he couldn't go, but removing that last card felt like giving up before the fight was even over. When King Charles walked in later and saw her holding the cancelled schedule, Camilla confessed that she had spent months pushing him to stay strong when maybe she should have been encouraging him to rest. But King Charles gently shook his head. Reports suggest he admitted that she hadn't pushed him. He had simply used her optimism as an excuse to ignore his own physical limits. He then looked at Camilla and asked her to stop trying to protect him from Prince William, confessing that keeping secrets had become far more dangerous than facing the truth. Before Camilla could answer, an urgent phone call interrupted them. Doctors were requesting an immediate medical checkup, and an overnight hospital stay had to be added to his plan right away. Camilla packed a small bag in total silence while Prince William arrived to help. As they prepared to leave, King Charles turned to his son and asked to speak to him alone one last time. And what he said next stripped away years of royal formality, changing their relationship forever. For the first time since this crisis began, all the arguments completely stopped, and King Charles pulled a small handwritten card from his pocket that changed everything between father and son. The king asked Camilla and the aides to leave the room so he could speak to Prince William alone. No advisors, no polished speeches, and no formal royal titles. Just a father afraid of leaving too much unsaid. Insiders say King Charles admitted he had confused real strength with simple stubbornness, believing that pushing through would protect his family when it was actually pulling them apart. Prince William reached across the space between them and took his father's hand, promising to carry the workload without acting like the reign was already over. That simple promise broke the king's composure completely. King Charles slowly unfolded the paper, which contained 3 deeply personal requests written in his own handwriting. First, Prince William had to protect his family time with Catherine, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, refusing to let royal duties create emotional distance between them. Second, he had to keep the royal family united and protect the young children from public panic. And third, he had to make sure Camilla was never left isolated or pushed aside if the medical treatments dragged on. Prince William agreed to every single request on that card, but he added one strict condition of his own. King Charles could never, under any circumstances, hide another medical warning from his family again. What do you think about how Prince William and Camilla are handling this massive shift inside the royal family? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.